It's Midnight Trucking Radio Network. Eric Harley here. I'm joined right now by our old friend Steve Sikorsky with Howes Lubricator. How are you, Steve?
Great, Eric. Thanks for having me
Great
on.
to see you. Welcome to the show.
You too. Thank you.
Let's talk about some things going on right now with Howes Lubricator. First of all, let's talk about promotions, how drivers can save a little money.
Yeah, I think most drivers are aware we have our current promotion is a hooded sweatshirt giveaway.
Right.
And we change that every 6 months, to show our appreciation for the drivers. We like to give them a little something extra. So right now with a 6-bottle purchase, they can get a free Howes hooded sweatshirt.
Oh, man.
Really nice piece of clothing.
Yeah, and I love wearing the cool stuff, the free stuff, because, that saves me a little money at home,
Sure.
And I've gotten into wearing so many hooded sweaties. I'm going to have to get out there and buy enough Howes.
I'll have to send you one.
I would love it. Absolutely love it. But this is something where you guys realize what's going on with the drivers, a little bit of something, in their day-to-day life, just to say thanks, right?
Absolutely. Currently with the economic climate out there, everybody struggles, and a little bit extra here and there always helps.
It really does. Really does. Let's talk about fuels and some of the challenges. Certainly, we've seen our share of challenges. Ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel has been around since 2006.
Right.
We've seen lubricity issues. We've seen plenty of problems out there with fuels, everything from ultra-low sulfur diesel to biofuels and everything in between.
Sure.
How are you guys meeting those challenges there at Howes?
We're always at the forefront of it. Right now, I'm glad you mentioned the biodiesel because that's becoming more and more prominent now.
Right.
And states like Minnesota and Illinois, they have a mandate. 2% to 5% mandate.
Right.
And they've run into some issues in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Some gelling issues. And
right. I remember, in fact, a few years ago, there was a problem in Minnesota where at the manufacturing level, they simply weren't extracting enough of the glycerin out of the mix.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot of gel ups, and that was several years ago. But that people still recall that.
They do, and I think the quality of the bio has improved.
Yeah.
But the nature of biodiesel itself hasn't. So there are still issues out there.
Yeah. So how do drivers address that with biodiesel with a Howes product?
Well, what we recommend is you're still really focusing on the petroleum portion of the fuel.
Right.
So we recommend if you know there's bio in there, treat it a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
Double dose the Howes. That way you're ensuring yourself of some protection.
Yeah. Because even in states, we've seen Florida even getting some winter weather. This has been a tough winter.
It has been.
This has been something where even the southern tier has seen its share of cold weather, and that presents those challenges.
Yeah, I was just talking to an old friend of mine from Kenly, North Carolina, and he said he's seen the coldest winter they've seen since the 70s.
Yeah, we had record snowfall in North Texas, and it's just amazing. And, of course, we know what the Northeast has been through time and time again, and just the other day they had more.
And another one's coming.
And there's more on the way. It's just it's relentless. And your operation, you can't shut down. So if you know you're getting that biodiesel blend, whether it's mandated or whatever, you need to make sure, again, that you're treating it properly.
Absolutely.
Essentially, it has a warmer pour point, a warmer gelling point.
It does. The bio
100%
on its own will start gelling anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
So it's really an issue in the cold weather, even in small blends.
Yeah.
It's a great lubricant. It also has some detergency properties, but there are issues with the cold weather.
Yeah. And you mentioned those detergency properties that they call it kind of a cleaning effect and everything else. Is there something there that drivers also need to be aware of? Certainly you want to watch your filters and everything else.
You want to watch your filters. You also want to watch if you have fuel stored for a long time. Biodiesel is inherently unstable. It tends to break down quickly, so you want to make sure that the fuel is always fresh.
Right. And that's another thing. There's some microbial contamination. What do we need to know there? Because that's something you need to look for and I guess really stay ahead of year-round, right?
It's particularly coming into this time of year.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of fluctuation in temperature, so there's condensation problems in the tanks.
Right.
And whenever you have moisture, you have bacteria.
Yeah.
And you want to really practice good house cleaning.
Yeah.
And one of the ways to do that is with one of our products called Meaner Power Cleaner.
Right.
It has a natural inhibitor for bacteria.
Right.
And it keeps the the bacteria from growing. It doesn't kill it. It's not a biocide, so it's not under the EPA regulations for that.
Right.
But it does keep it from growing. So if you keep that in there year-round, it really eliminates a lot of that problem.
You're going to be able to manage that. And, again, staying on top of it is the key.
Staying on top of it is the key.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Of course, now we're here in 2010. Selective catalytic reduction technology is into play. Any concerns there? We do know that the engines were getting hotter with some of the technology, some of the new EPA engines over the last few years. Anything that you guys have learned about these 2010, especially the SCR technology, selective catalytic reduction, that drivers need to be concerned about?
Well, the only thing you really need to be concerned about with that is the presence of sulfur in anything you put in the fuel.
Yeah, okay.
Because the sulfur can poison the catalytic reaction.
Right.
And our products are sulfur-free, so you really want to pay attention to what you put in there.
Ah, that's a good point.
You know, the desulfurized fuel is fine, but if you're putting an additive in there that might have a sulfur content that's not EPA approved, you could run into some issues with it.
You could run into some real issues because we're looking at it dropped back with ULSD. It went from 500 parts per million down to 15 parts per million sulfur content.
Right.
And that's pretty strict. In fact, we're told at the refinery level they're aiming for 2 to 3 parts per million.
Yeah, that's coming.
To stay within compliance, make sure that there's no cross-contamination, even a few years later now that we're in it, Steve.
Sure.
They're still concerned about that cross-contamination. But you just need to make sure what's in anything that you're putting into your truck, because that sulfur contamination will harm that engine.
Yeah, and it will poison the catalytic reaction and ultimately affect the system itself. So you got to be very careful.
Really interesting. Something that drivers need to look for when they're looking for a house. You guys have a new logo.
We do. We're coming out with a new logo. It's an updated, more modern look for us.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot different than the old logo, but I want to assure the drivers that it's the same house product.
Right.
It's just a slightly
not
different
a new
look.
Formulation.
No,
same product.
Same product. Nothing has changed.
That's right.
We're just freshening our appearance a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it more up to date.
Yeah, there you go. Well, some great stuff there from House. Of course, we hear Lee Greenwood singing about it on our program every single night, and it's again something that you guys have been in touch with the drivers about. How important is that to get out to major trade shows or to talk to them, maybe on the phone or communicate by email or something, when they need your product or they're having an issue that you know that you guys can resolve?
Well, one of the things I think that sets us apart is our customer service. We're always there for calls.
Yeah.
During our normal hours, and if a driver calls up, I speak to drivers every day personally.
Wow.
With any issues that may come up, so we try to support them as best we can.
Yeah. Well, that's great stuff, and I know the drivers count on it. You guys have a lot of loyal users out there.
And we want to thank all of you out there. We do appreciate your loyalty, and we hope we can keep providing you with quality products and keep you running.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Steve Sikorsky, we appreciate your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Eric.
All right.